Lauren has a great story. She is a community advocate. She is a builder of humans, especially girls.
I like that word, builder of humans.
Yes, you are.
Yes, okay.
She is one of my own personal hype men.
Because I can hype anybody up. Like, yes, I agree.
And so, Lauren, I thank you for being on the podcast today. And I'm just going to let you kind of share your story.
Okay.
You definitely have to tell us about your FLY Girlz and all of that.
Yes.
And, y'all, this episode is just about love and community.
Ooh.
So, let's go.
Heavy on the love and heavy on the community.
Yes.
Okay.
2 vibes, 1 vision.
Hey, everybody.
There you go. Hey, everybody. So I am Lauren LK Scott, because I love calling the new me, the reinvented me. I love her. She's so beautiful.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm
LK.
using that.
It's LK Scott, and
Yes,
she's
ma'am.
a whole lot. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, born and raised in Highland Hills. If anybody knows where Highland Hills is, it's off of Oak Grove Road, and it's like Highland Hills is like a desert within a place within itself, a city right there that nobody really remembers. And anyway, say
I used to call the 3 hills. You had Forest Hill, Highland Hills, and Rolling Hills.
Yes. And then, nobody really thinks about Highland Hills unless they need to think about Highland Hills.
Very true.
Yeah,
Very
it is.
true.
But
Very
everybody else, like Stop 6, is prestigious and everything.
Right.
And then you got Highland Hills. But that's okay, because that's where my roots came from. If we want to reach all the way back, my roots came from Milwaukee, Oklahoma, in which
You're native Cherokee?
Seminole.
Seminole.
I'm Seminole. Yeah, Seminole Nation tribe from Oklahoma, part of the Ocheesee tribe. So glad that I was able to actually go to a Native American college.
Wow.
Yes, I went to a Native college called Haskell Indian Nations University in Lawrence, Kansas, 2 minutes away from KU.
I love it.
Yes, my mom said I was so adamant about going to Prairie View. I was like, I'm going to Prairie View and I'm going to do Major Red, even though I was a cheerleader, but I know I can, make that work. And I got a letter for a scholarship and everything. My mom said no. So she shipped me over to Haskell, and I would say it was a great experience and was also a trying experience as well. I received my bachelor's in American Indian Studies too. So
I'm gonna have you on for some other stuff in another organization.
Okay.
I got things for you.
Okay, well that's great. So that's what I'm talking about. Community for the unity.
Because I love Black Native Americans. That's a story that's not told and known.
We're hidden gems.
And so, yes, I have some things to put on your calendar.
Okay, put it on the calendar. I like that. But yes, I went through a lot during that time, being the handful of Black natives there, from racism, people thinking that I wasn't supposed to be on their campus. For me being the only black Indian cheerleader, and then a second young lady comes in, I was very excited for that. To just dealing with identity. It was an identity thing for me. I didn't know who I was until I found out who I was within myself. But if we were to go back, what?
I just have to help think of like multiracial, biracial, multi-ethnic. It's always generally people think of black and white or black and Hispanic or Latino, but
they don't think about Black and Native,
right? And that cultural identity and identity formation and
I like to do storytelling of if you really knew me. Okay. So mine is, if you really knew me, you would know that I love to laugh.
Yes.
If you really know me, you would know that my pet peeve is basically I'm OCD. I did not know that. When it comes to groceries and chairs not being in place. Yeah. if you really knew me and we were get to the root of the cause, I, have some traumas and triggers in my life that I'm dealing with each and every day. If you really knew me, you would know that therapy and Jesus go together now.
Yes, ma'am.
Therapy and Jesus go together right now. When I started to become who I am, and try to find out who Lauren was, it was actually during, like everybody else says, during the COVID. During COVID. The shutdown was real. I knew who I was, but I didn't know who I was. Right. I was very insecure. I was a people pleaser. And also I had demons within inside me that I didn't recognize until I had to realize it in my face. Like, for instance, I didn't understand why I didn't like hugs. Like, I used to hate hugging. That touch. I did not like touching. Well, I went deep rooted inside myself and had to figure out why I didn't like the people touching me. And number one, it was from, my parents. Like, they love me unconditionally. I love my parents, so shout out to Andrea Kelly and my dad, Lawrence Kelly. So I've never seen them like be intimate to each other. My mom grew up in a military base, and her father was like, they had love. But back in the day, how they showed love: you feed them,
cook,
you clothe you,
I'm gonna buy you your grub.
Yes,
taking care of the family business.
That's what it was. And so, she wouldn't embrace me, but she would embrace me. And she was one of them type where I can hug you, but you don't hug me. Or even with my father, I never just embraced him, and he didn't embrace me back.
You get the church hug.
Yes, you got one of them. Pat, pat, and then pat, pat, and done.
Right.
And so that was part of right. That was just part of me learning that. Like, when I was with my husband, I didn't like my husband touching me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't like it. Like, it's not cool. It's gross to me.
Yes. And
it gives you this tingling feeling. But now I love embracing it. But now I had to reach back even further with my husband. So publicly, I'm going to say this. When I went to therapy, we always, you tell them what's going on with us and whatnot, and you're not knowing that they really dissecting what you're saying. Yeah. Everything. I know you know. Yes. They dissect everything.
What you're saying and what you're not saying.
Absolutely. It's like they know the behavior patterns. They're very equipped for it. And I would say Black women of color, we need therapy for real. So I was in one of my middle stages of the session, and we started talking about different trauma roles: flight, fight, freeze, and fawn and stuff. And she started peeling off my mask and just really telling me the categories that I may fall in, and it's asking me what categories do I fall in. And she asked why, and at first you think you don't know, but you really do know. We say we don't know, but
we just tuck it away back in the back of our brain.
All the way back there, so we won't remember. Well, how I dealt with trauma is joking about it. I'm a jokester. Like, I laugh at my pain. And so
sometimes that's all the only tool we have.
Yeah.
Usually we have anger, or we have, I'm gonna make a joke of everything.
Absolutely, that was me. And so, in my 13 years of dealing with this certain demon, and I'm gonna tell you guys what it is. I didn't know that was falling into play of my marriage until I had to release it. So on this day, it's been 13 years ago, I dealt with sexual trauma. I dealt with sexual trauma, sexual assault, matter of fact, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Like, I put it in the back of my mind because I was thinking it was my fault. And if you know anybody else's story, there's some women thinking that it is their fault. Right. They're thinking, you put yourself in this situation.
Society, I think there's a shift that has happened slowly. But society increases that feeling, because it's like, oh, well, what does she have on? Or you could have said no, or you weren't, had you not been drinking, or but it's so many things. You put yourself in that situation because you did blah 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 blah, and that's what used to inundate the media, movies, TV, all of that. So it was reinforced. That's the word I'm looking forward. Society reinforces that feeling of I am to blame for what happened to me.
And see, you're right. I was blaming myself for a whole 13 years, like now. And that was the greatest release that I ever had. And I told my husband, like, what it was. Because at first I was joking about, like I told you. And I told him, Evan, I was sexually assaulted by 3 guys. And by the grace of God, there was this one young man, because I slammed the door. I was like, everybody get out. Get out. And there was a knock on this door. It was like a peaceful knock. And I don't know who this young man is, and I thank him for it. He says, I just want to see if you okay. And he says to me, I'm not going to touch you. I just want to make sure you're safe. You're not going out there. I need you to lay down and go to sleep. And at first I was like, no, I'm about to go. Like, I have to go back to see my friends my friend who was there with me. He's like, no, you're going to stay right here. You're going to go to sleep. And then you're going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to walk you to your friend. Woke up and I was like, did you touch me? He was like, no, I didn't touch you. He's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. He was like, well, I'm going to send you down on your way, but I'm hoping that you'll be okay. And so within that moment, you don't know how to deal with it. You just, try to escape from it. And the crazy thing is, one day we were at IHOP. And me and the friend that was with me, we were laughing, joking. We was with some of our homeboys or whatnot who protects us. And if they would have known that, they would kill them. Yes. But in that moment, they walked in. And I froze. And I didn't know what to do. And I just put my head down in humility. I was so embarrassed.
You were immediately taken back.
Yeah.
To that moment after. During and after.
And I don't want the next young girl to feel like that anymore. I don't want my own daughter to go through that situation. So I'm glad I went through it, so then the people behind me won't have to deal with it. I don't mind telling my story. I just told my parents this year about what happened to me, and my mama was livid. Like, she was really livid. She was like, I don't know how to deal with this. I said, Mom, you know what? It happened, but it's okay, because now I can go through my next season of releasing more things that I have inside of me.
And we're not releasing blame or anything on the perpetrators.
Yeah.
Let's make that perfectly clear.
Yeah, make that clear.
And we're not saying, we're not minimizing your experience and what happened to you either. What you're saying is, no, I didn't want this to happen to me. Don't want this to happen to anybody else, but it did. So what can I make positive out of it? That's absolutely, because I don't want anybody to get any kind of misunderstanding. The internet, you know how the internets do. They will twist your words,
girl.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Going back to If You Really Knew Me. Hearing your story and knowing the little bit that I know of you, what I see before me and what I've seen since because I've always seen you in the room before I ever knew your name, because I was like, this is the one with the lipstick. And and what I always liked about you was that you don't minimize yourself. So to hear you talk about lowering your head and feeling the shame and and like curling in upon yourself and seeing what I see this big person in a healthy way. Because some people are big because I always lose my words in these podcasts.
That's
by
okay.
the way.
You say coping mechanism?
It's a coping mechanism. It's they're compensating. When I see you just standing and being, and like your boldness, your colors, your accessories, Marcine loves to say you are your best accessory. You are an example of you being your best accessory, because an accessory enhances.
Because I refuse to let people put me in a box anymore. Like, I refuse to do that. I was in a box from elementary, 6th grade, all the way up to my early 30s because of me, like I said, people pleasing. I remember I was 18, 19 years old, and my friends were really cool, but I will remember to this day, because I used to wear a lot of colors now that I do now. Okay, so they was like, you so loud, you always wearing these loud colors and blah 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 blah, and I was like, what? It's not a big deal. It's on my body. It's not on your body.
Right.
And that really affected me to where I toned it down.
You muted yourself.
I did. I minimized myself, and I would second guess my outfits, and then I would ask, well, do you think this outfit is cute? What about this outfit? Which one you think? Not understanding that I was giving people too much power.
You were giving them permission.
Yes.
In our last episode, we talked about you teach people how to treat you. And you were literally handing over your power. You were handing over your decision-making skills and abilities to someone else.
Yeah. So I started toning it down and being like everybody else in the educator world.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I look at them clothes now, I'm like, oh, I'm not wearing that.
I look at the clothes I used to wear at the beginning. No, in the middle part of my education. Because when I was younger, I was the fashionable, hip little counselor. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, this is... And I changed schools, and I saw the culture. And I said, oh, okay, this is how I have to be. And I was like, I was frumpy.
Yeah!
I was frumpy. And I don't have the biggest fashion sense, but I like my fashion sense.
How about that? Yes, I love it.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like,
And my thing is, how is that affecting you?
Right.
Like, what is my fashion sense? How is that affecting you? And why are you... We let society tell us what to do so much that we're in this confined box, this invisible box that people don't realize that we have. And even like when I used to go to networking events, I was like, what should I wear? Oh my gosh, is this professional enough? And then you know what? No, throw that away. If they want to connect with you, they will connect with you.
So my question to the audience is, who are you, or what would you allow yourself to present as if you allowed yourself to step out of the box? So for me, is I'm a jeans. I have two modes: jeans and t-shirts, or sundresses. And because one is Texas, so it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
300 days out
Satan's
here.
that in here.
Yes, Jesus, 111. And so now when I present, it's rare that I usually have on a t-shirt and jeans, or a t-shirt and some slacks and tennis shoes. I'm not wearing heels. I look like a drunk duck when I walk.
I'm bow-legged, so I understand.
Like if there was a heel walking class, I would take it, because I would love to be able to walk in heels. I think heels are cute, and they can again accessorize.
Yes,
but I don't look cute in them. So like I really want to know, guys. Put it in the chat if you allowed yourself to step out the box for just a moment. What would you allow yourself to present as? Because I am totally... My husband called me a black hippie one day, and I said, you know what?
That's me.
That's me. I am taking ownership of that
there
one.
You go.
Because that is how I feel. That is truly how I feel. So, you have this story of what led to you minimizing yourself. What changed? What was that catalyst that said, okay, I got to do differently?
On a faith-based standpoint, my relationship with God, I have been in the process of learning who He is to me, so then I can be well for others. Because everybody has a different source. I don't know what your source is. I don't like that. Ain't none of my business.
I love in AA. They say the God of my understanding.
There we go. Oh, I like that.
That's what they say in AA.
Yeah.
And in AA and NA meetings, or 12 step. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the God of my understanding. So I'm a Christian. I provide counseling to people who are not Christian. I provide counseling to people who don't even believe in a God.
How about that?
Okay. But it's the God of my understanding. And if your understanding is there is no God, then hey, we're going to work within that system.
Because we're humans first.
Right.
And we shed the same blood. We might have different pigmentations of each other.
Right.
But we're human. But I had to get to my center in order for me to know what my center is. So then when things are thrown at me, I'll be equipped for it. Now I'm not saying I'm always equipped, because listen, there'll be some surprises every single
like you
day.
Said, we're humans first.
Yeah, we're humans first. So me recognizing in stages of London is my why.
And that's your daughter.
Yes. When I got pregnant with her, I was like, oh crap, I got a whole human being that's gonna be looking up to me. And I'm not gonna lie, I was depressed when I had my child. I was very depressed. Didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. The father of my kid, we were rocky and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I knew that I had to take care of her. And so when she was born, she was 5 pounds 5 ounces. 5 is grace. And so with that grace, I knew that God gave me grace, so I have to give this
human double measure of grace, because you said 5 pounds 5 ounces. That was a double measure.
Yes. Say it. And that was one of the stages of me changing. Was London, my London. Like, that's my baby girl. She act like me. Pray for me. Pray for me, for real. And then the next stage of my life in developing and changing me was when Evan came to my life.
Okay.
When I say that man shattered my whole wall, like I had a brick wall, like all the way sky high. And God was teaching me there are people out there who are selfless. There are people out there who really have your back.
That's what my husband has done for me. It's
the brick wall.
Yes. I remember, when I used to argue to kill. Like, I'm going to hurt you with my words. Yes. I'm not going to ever lay a finger on you, but my words are going to hurt like no tomorrow. And I've been doing that since I was in my therapy. My therapist helped me figure out where all that started from. And I remember our first argument, and it wasn't even an argument. My first disappointment, I need to correct, put you in check. And I said whatever I said, and I didn't say anything mean. I was like, you should have done this and you should have done that, and I asked and and he said, I apologize, I was wrong. And that just deflated me, because I had nothing. He didn't fight back, he didn't argue back. And in the situation, he really was wrong. It wasn't like he was being a people pleaser or anything. He was like, I'm sorry, you're right, I was wrong. And I was like, oh, dang, I was ready to. You
was ready to go in. Right. Yes, I had everything in my head that I was going to say to you.
I've been thinking about this for a moment.
Yes.
Let's go.
I cocked the gun and
right. I was on ready, set, and he took me back to run us to your mark. Like,
listen, because so were you in a fight mode like all the time? Yeah.
My therapist literally asked me, "What do you still have to fight? What do you have left to fight?" And that was healing for me. That question.
Yeah, I was all 4 categories though. If I had to lean on a trauma role for me, it would probably be flight. It would probably be flight mode. Like, seriously, I'll ghost in a minute. Deuces.
So
we're good.
My perfectionism put me in flight mode, because if I couldn't do it right, I remember telling somebody, I will leave you before you leave me. I will not be the one left behind. Or, okay, you know what, I'm just not going to do it. Because I felt like I couldn't do it right, or with the expectation that I had or that somebody else had for it. So, I'm just, I just rather not do it at all, because I'm not going to put forth my effort in and not be to standard. Whatever standard means, so.
Yeah, and then now the change in me is learning about my circle, and I'm talking about my friendship circles.
Bringing it back to love and community.
Yes. When I say my friendship circles have shifted, they have shifted in a good way.
Yes.
I am a loyal person, and there's people who haven't been loyal to me, which is fine now. But at one point in time, I was down on myself. I was like, this person don't support me, and this person, I've been rocking with them since this, and that. But I had to come to grips that it's okay.
One, everybody ain't loyal.
Everybody.
I mean, there's another way of saying that. We're going to say everybody ain't loyal.
Chris Brown.
There you go. And then two, we talked about in one of our episodes, people give at the capacity they're able to give. And it might not be that they're not loyal. Like they want to be, but they don't have the capacity to be loyal in the way that you want them to be.
Absolutely.
So their loyalty might just be, I'm going to like everything you put on social media. Or, I'm going to stay away because I know we ain't good for each other. Yeah. That could truly be a sign of support. It's just, I need to stay out of it. I need to stay away. And so
giving people grace. See how grace just keeps following me.
Yes.
So just giving people grace and allowing myself to say, you can't expect you from you.
Yes.
Like you can't never expect you from you. That this is how you are. This is how this person is. And don't ever assume how a person is. I'm also learning how to actually talk to my friends and ask my friends questions before I assume anything, or before I see anything or hear anything. And I'm very proud that I'm learning how to be slow to speak, quick to hear, and slow to anger. Like that is my motto for this season. And yes, it works out sometimes. Yes, it doesn't work out. But at the end of the day, I'm trying, because I remember at one point in time where you could say Mary had a little lamb, and I'm like, what you say? What you say about that lamb? That lamb did what?
Dude, we were so much alike. We were so like, yes. I was 12 years old and I cussed out a pastor at a Baptist conference. And I don't remember what I said, 'cause I used to have blackout. Like I wouldn't remember, or have these like out of body experiences. And I just remember saying, I'm 12, not 2. That's the only reason I know how old I was. I said, I'm 12, not 2. Don't talk to me like I'm an idiot. And I said some other things, and then one of my brothers came around and he said, who got my sister in here cussing? And so I was just like,
it was a domino effect.
and I felt no shame in it. I stood on my righteous grounds. Like, no, you're not gonna talk to me like I'm stupid. Which, going back to that initial thing of, that was one of my triggers, was people talking to me where I felt like they were talking to me like I was dumb or stupid or inept. Because that's not how that's gonna work.
I wish that we would have a lot of people who would start getting to their root causes of things, because I feel like if people were to do that, this world would be a little better.
But that's where also, going back to shifting your community, you have to have a community where you can trust to be yourself. You have to have a community that you can trust to take off the masks.
Continue the conversation with us on the next episode of Mental Health IRL. Here's a sneak peek.
Because you have grown and are growing, because it's a process, from minimizing yourself to presenting in your fullness. And your fullness changes day by day. You know, what are some tips or some thoughts that you have about how to take up space? Because as women, as people of color, as humans, that's going back to we're humans first. We all have received messages. For the most part, every person has received a message about minimizing, fitting into the box, whatever. So what kind of tips or what kind of advice can you give to someone who wants to rightfully take up the space that they have?
Ooh, I can say this now because I'm proud of me. Listen.
But come on now.